According to the National Institute on Aging, Alzheimer's disease is the sixth leading cause of death in the United States. The progressive, irreversible brain disorder slowly destroys memory and thinking skills. But new research conducted here in Chicago is building evidence that simple lifestyle changes can ward off the disease. Lauren Cohn reports.
5 million Americans are now living with Alzheimer's disease, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. As the baby boomers age, that number is expected to reach 28 million by the year 2050. And that iceberg? Tom Ostreicher has his own analogy.
Now, with a person with Alzheimer's, you're a glacier. Now, when you see little things fall off the glacier, and that's how it starts out. You know, you lose those little things. You might lose immediate memory, short-term memory, and then all of a sudden it gets bigger and bigger. And as you progress with the disease, bigger chunks fall off that glacier until there's no glacier left.
The 67-year-old retired history professor and American Civil War expert lives with his wife Marilyn in Sycamore, Illinois.
I noticed when I was lecturing in classes, that stuff I've talked about for 30, 40 years, I was missing things. And I don't, whether the students realized it or not, but I realized it. I said, wow, why did I say that? How did I miss that?
Tom was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's a little less than 2 years ago.
When I had the brain scan, they noticed that the hippocampus in the back of the brain was shrinking at a much larger rate than it would be for somebody my age.
At first, when it first happened, he would come home from school every day, though, and just sit for a long time. And I said, okay, you're just going into this huge depression, which isn't going to help you or anyone else.
So the Ostreichers started walking more and planning trips, and Tom speaks as often as he can to groups of Alzheimer's patients, hoping to inspire them to do the same. There is no cure for Alzheimer's. Tom is taking medication, but there is no sure sign for how slow or fast it will progress.
As a society, we've had such a defeatist attitude about Alzheimer's disease. We just kind of hurry up and wait, and we wait and wait and wait for someone to develop symptoms, and then we say, oh, Alzheimer's, too late, can't do anything. And I think that's exactly the wrong approach.
Dr. Demetrius Maraganori is the chairman of the Department of Neurology and medical director of the North Shore Neurological Institute. He runs the Center for Brain Health.
We're certainly the only program in the Chicagoland and in the Midwest that's taking a focus on primarily preventing Alzheimer's disease.
The program begins with a 20-question brain health quiz to help identify risk factors. Patients then become part of a comprehensive electronic record system where they're tracked and monitored. The center offers advanced testing from brain scans.
And the newest technologies we have are technologies that actually can detect abnormal deposits of a protein called amyloid, which we know is one of the telltale signs that your brain is aging and developing Alzheimer's changes.
To examining DNA, because one of the greatest risk factors for Alzheimer's is family history. Dr. Maraganori says physical activity outdoors and exposure to vitamin D reduces risk.
A study showed a year or two ago that even if you take 70-year-olds and if you get them to aerobically exercise for 30 minutes 4 times a week, their hippocampi, the memory area of their brain, will literally grow. You can measure the memory area of your brain grow simply by doing the exercise. And then if you test their performance on memory tests, it exponentially improves according to how aerobic their exercise is.
And Dr. Maraganori pushes the Mediterranean diet, which is comprised of mostly fruits, vegetables, fish, healthy fats, and whole grains.
By intervening in at-risk people, we can reduce their risk profoundly. The other point is that we can delay the onset.
And there is more new evidence. What you eat may play a significant role in warding off Alzheimer's disease. Rush University Medical Center's nutritional epidemiologist Martha Claire Morris found following the MIND diet, a low-salt version of the Mediterranean diet, significantly lowers risk. The study tracked more than 1,000 adults for an average of 4.5 years.
They had a 53% reduction in the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. People who even had just moderate adherence to the diet had a 35% reduction in the risk.
Today, more than 5 million Americans live with Alzheimer's disease in the United States. That number is expected to triple by 2050. A current medical trial in Chicago is exploring a drug that prevents the development of the disease in healthy but high-risk individuals, and researchers are cautiously optimistic.